How's it going, everyone? Welcome back. Today, I want to talk about this AR. You've seen this AR in several of my other videos. This is a previous build that I have that I keep saying that I'm going to come back and do a review on, and I just haven't had a chance up till now. So let's go ahead and get the review done. And we'll start with the upper. All right, this is an Air Performance Enhanced upper. It came as an assembled upper with the forward assist and the dust cover already attached. I do have some 45-degree sights mounted to it that are stiff, as you can see here and here. So when I'm shouldered, if for some reason I need to go iron sights, I have the iron sights available to me that are on the 45. Not absolutely necessary, but good to have. I did mount a Vortex Strike Eagle on here, which I believe is a 2 to 6 or a 2 to 8, somewhere around there. I generally don't crank it up very high. 2 to 4 power is about all that I would ever, choose to set it at. If I would need to target something farther away, I have other weapons that I would probably choose before this one, but in a pinch, I can crank it up to, 6 or 8 power, or whatever it goes to, and probably reach out to, 450 or 500 meters with this. But this build is basically designed for up to about 300 meters. The Air Precision upper also requires the Air Precision handguard, which mounts differently. As you can see, it's got 8 nuts. There's 2 behind the sight that hold it on. So it's really, really sturdy. You can't see it, but I'll try to get it in there. There it is. The barrel is Ballistic Advantage fluted heavy barrel with a 1/8 twist with just a standard birdcage muzzle device. I didn't go with anything extravagant. This was fairly inexpensive. I think about 15 or 16 bucks. Excuse me. This definitely didn't fall under the category of a budget build because I went a little extra on some of the parts. Like I said, the enhanced upper, that was a little pricey. I think just under $200. And then the handguard that has to go with it because these go together was a little pricier than a lot of other handguards. And then, of course, the Ballistic Advantage heavy barrel, that was a little pricier. So I definitely could have went less expensive on some of these parts, but it really wasn't, where I was headed into this build. I was trying to target the moderate price range. You can go into a store and buy the Smith & Wesson M&P or an Anderson or a PSA for, $300 or $400, or you can go to the other end of that spectrum and get Sig Sauer or Daniel Defense, which would be, gets up there above $2,500. I wanted something that fell within the $1,500 to $2,000 range, and actually I hit actually below that with this. Once I got everything put together, not including the optics, just the basic platform rifle, I think I fell right around $800. So I was real happy with where this came in at, cost-wise. And it went together pretty clean. Everything obviously is mil spec, and it shot real well. I haven't broke this barrel in yet. It's only had about 40 or 45 rounds through it. All I did was take it to the range and do a rough set on the 0 and tune the gas block. It does have an adjustable gas block on it. So that had to be tuned, to get the correct ejection out of it. I think that took about 20, 25 rounds. And then when I took it to the indoor range to do just a rough 0 on the sight, I think I did about 15 rounds through it. So it hasn't had but about 40 rounds through it yet. Now that the weather's starting to break, I am going to get it out to the range and actually get the barrel broken in, and then we'll start fine-tuning the optics and see where this thing falls in at. To be honest, if I get 2-inch or less, if I get 2-inch groups at 250 yards, 300 yards at the most, I will be extremely ecstatic. I'm not expecting it to shoot that well. I'm thinking more along the lines of 1.5 to 2 inches at 100 or 150 yards. But if I can stretch it out a little further than that, I'll be completely ecstatic. So I also will be looking forward to, getting this out to the range and getting the barrel broke in. When I do that video, I'll go over my break-in process. It is pretty intricate, so I can't just explain it to you now. But once I get it out to the range and get that process started, I'll take the camera with me and go ahead and document that, just so you can follow me on my break-in process. But that's pretty much the upper. It was pretty basic, right out of a box, put it together. I did get an upgraded bolt carrier. This is a Sharps bolt carrier. If you look very carefully at the lugs, you can see that they are beveled. Supposedly, and this is what I saw on another website, as well as when I researched the bolt carrier, that it helps tremendously with the timing coming into the barrel lugs to make sure everything's a bit smoother. And like I said, the first 40 rounds I put through this were smooth as silk. There was little to no recoil. Ejection was perfect at right around 330 every single time. In fact, a friend of mine went with me when I did that, and I mean, he literally held his hands about 6 feet from me, and every round just fell right in his hands. It was phenomenal. Him and I were both super impressed. So again, the Air Precision enhanced upper, not the standard Air Precision. This is actually the enhanced. So the handguard and the barrel nut are slightly different than your standard Air Precision upper. And it is machine cut billet aluminum, I believe. You'd have to look at the specs. It was on sale for right about what the same cost of the standard upper was. So I figured, what the heck, let's get the enhanced and see if it makes a difference. And that was that. Like I said, the Vortex scope, I picked that up on sale. I'm a big fan of shopping sales. And when I get discount codes for, getting some money off of what I'm buying, because, you start buying this stuff, it gets expensive quick. The Sharps bolt carrier was a little bit pricey. And then this is the Warhammer. It is ambidextrous. I haven't had a lot of time on this yet, so I don't know. I know the tabs are a little wider than most charging handles. It hasn't been an issue yet, but again, I haven't had a lot of time on it yet, so I'm not quite sure, how that's going to go. On to the lower. This is just a basic Rock River lower. Nothing fancy. There's a CMC drop-in trigger, one piece, single stage drop-in trigger, and that's all it is. Nothing fancy. The magazine button and the slide lock is basically mil spec. Nothing fancy about that. Now, I did opt to get a upgraded buffer spring. This is a Damage Industries enhanced buffer spring, and this is a stuck buffer, and this is an Air Precision H2 buffer, in conjunction with the adjustable gas block. And the way this all went together, I was guessing at how it was going to perform, but it seems that this part set up with the enhanced spring and the H2 buffer and the adjustable gas block, it did absolutely phenomenal. I was super impressed with it. So it wasn't hateful. I think I paid a little bit extra for the H2 buffer. I believe it was about $35. And then the spring, I believe that was about $18 with shipping. And then we just have standard mag pull and mag pull on here, as well as with the takedown pins. They're just standard mil spec. So, and then the sling, I think I got that off Sportsman's Guide. You know, I get those sales all the time for, you know, 25% off or whatever. But in the end, this is how it came together, and I was extremely happy with it. It worked out very well for what it was. Like I said, I had about 800 into this minus the Vortex scope. I think I paid about $300 or $350 for the Vortex scope. So I came in just over $1,000 for the whole rifle complete. And then, of course, you know, I did get some PMags for it, which seemed to be working pretty well up till now. But again, I think I've only put about 40 rounds through this. So time will tell once I get up around 700 or 800 rounds. And once I get up that high, I will have done the video for the barrel break-in process, as well as targeting to see where it's at 100, 300, and 500 meters. So that's it. It's nothing fancy. It's pretty basic. I did put a little bit of extra money, like I said, into the trigger, into the bolt carrier, and into the barrel. A little bit extra into the buffer and the gas block, just for tunability. But other than that, there's not a lot of high-end stuff on here. It's not super expensive. Like I said, I came in, I think, right around $1,100, $1,200. When I put a parts list together, I'll see if I can see what my totals were and put them in the description. If not, you know, I'm just pulling that number off of memory from about a year ago, maybe a little over a year ago. But again, I'm not really dissatisfied with it so far. I'm ecstatic because it timed out perfectly with its ejection. And as far as recoil goes, it was really flat shooting, really stable. So far, I'm extremely happy with the parts that all went together and how they mesh with each other. But, you know, like I said, once we get up around 700 or 800 rounds, then we'll really know how it is. So that's it, just a basic AR. Not overly hateful cost-wise, but certainly not the cheapest that you can get. You can go your own route, you know, whatever you prefer. If you're not comfortable with doing an assembly, there's nothing wrong with that. You know, if you are comfortable doing assembly, then I would suggest, you know, go ahead and you know, start getting parts and getting one assembled for yourself. It's not difficult. And if you get stumped, there's a ton of YouTube videos out there with guys that can show you how to put different parts together and different sections and what the specs are and yada, yada, yada. So that's that. Again, if you have any questions, please put them down in the comments, and we'll catch you next time.